we had a big kind of influx in spending on stuff like legal, and even recently with the server stuff. I mean, just having the money to spend on that, these kind of spot kind of costs has been really important. And so, despite the fact it's incredible. I mean, I always find incredible that people are going to make these kind of wild guesses as to how much money the site is making or how much money I have or whatnot. And so much of it comes from, again, just baseless, just conjecture and kind of parroting what other people have said. And people trust like one of these is celebritynetworth.com. People always say, oh, you're worth $2.5 million because celebritynetworth.com, which is just like, my head is exploding. The fact that anybody could possibly believe a random website like that as far as the best I can tell, basically add people to it and they add some data points like how many mentions you have in Google News or what your Alexa ranking is, blah, blah, blah. And just go up with these completely like bogus numbers, and people screenshot that and propagate that as evidence of me having baller status. But I wish you guys could actually see my room right now. I'm sitting on like an IKEA couch with my I've got fucking boxes everywhere. I've got like a bookcase with most books I actually gotten for free from like the TED Book Club, and really old video games. I'm trying to think what else is. What am I sitting by? I don't even have a real bed. I'm looking at my bedroom right now with this tiny little apartment in New York. I don't have like, I mean, for all of you, I should say fuck you to all of you that have a washer. I don't have a dishwasher. I've like lived in apartments my entire life. I grew up in New York. Dishwasher. If you have a dishwasher, if you have heat that you can control, like central air, if you have what do you call them, a laundry machine in your, even in your building, I mean, or your apartment or your house, you are living a pretty baller life. I actually consider people that have those things to be rich. I've lived a life, essentially without all of those amenities. Thank you, New York City. So. Well, if I can ever afford an apartment in New York or really anywhere else with those amenities, I will truly have graduated from my current circumstances. Here's a good one. 1227. Are you planning on selling the site? Any comment on the speculation that you're planning to sell the site to Gawker? I love, again, like how people just take, just could make these things up and propagate them or perpetrate them. When I remember when I first read that theory, I was like, you know what? That would be fucking hilarious. But I, look forward to not being killed in my sleep. So no, I'm not selling the site to Gawker. And one of the pieces of evidence that people have used is there's a photo of Nick Denton and I from first of all, like Nick Denton and I don't have a particularly healthy relationship. I mean, like I do have I've known various people that have worked at Gawker over the years, and it's like they would always like tease me about. I mean, I had very Adrian Chen, who as it turns out is a nice guy, when you meet him. But Gawker essentially had the 4chan beat for the longest time, where they just would rip on 4chan and rip on me. They've written some nice things actually over the years. I mean, but to be fair, I mean, they've for a long time recently just ripped on 4chan and made fun of it and made fun of me or whatnot. And again, to be fair, actually, I got into like a little bit of a Twitter spat a few years ago with. They were offended that I insinuated or suggested that they hadn't ever said positive things about 4chan. But anyway, so I've never, I don't use Gawker's websites. I've never, had the healthiest relationship with them, and so it's just so like, ironic to me that people have kind of lumped me in with them. But there is a photo of Nick Denton and I from I want to say it was 2011 or 2012 from this party that they threw, and it was actually a great party. It was and I would be surprised if you guys would not have attended. First of all, it predates the the events of last year, but I was invited by a friend who was formerly a writer for Gizmodo to this event that they did at the Hayden Planetarium at the American Museum of Natural History, and it's like the fucking Hayden Planetarium is amazing, and they had it was IO9, which I guess is one of I don't know, it's like a sci-fi website or something. They basically had a talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's the fucking man, And so they had this like they basically took in the planetarium and did this whole like live basically run through with like a scientist, and you got to explore the galaxy, and then this interview with NDT, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. I went to that, and then like I was standing, and a photographer took my photo with Nick Denton, who we've never had anything to say to each other other than pleasantries. So so again, like that party that I went to years ago, which was actually great because again, like I got to shake hands with Neil deGrasse Tyson, which was awesome. I actually got his autograph. That happened to result in me getting photographed with this dude that you all hate now, who again I haven't particularly been the biggest fan of his properties over the years myself. I love how this is again becomes incontrovertible evidence that there's this larger conspiracy at work, but again, I've given up on trying to explain all this. Are you going to make sure that Z stays? I hope so. I don't see why it shouldn't go. I mean, I love Beacock. It's my favorite. Beacock is best cock. There's a long kind of statements, but questions in 1, 2, 4, 5. But I'll just kind of respond to the first. Moot, when you open up Q, we learned a lot of moderators and generators hate 4chan, like they wish they could use their mod powers to beat us with a sock full of pennies. It's not a sock full of pennies. It's a pillowcase full of pennies. And they were not even remotely subtle about expressing it. How exactly did you get a team together? Things like that. I think you're generalizing from maybe 1 or 2 people. I mean, the famous example being MQR, who actually became a janitor after posting on Q. And so when Q was open, he was not a janitor. He later became a janitor, and was, I guess, caught by the users, expressing some opinions there. But again, I would love to see more evidence of again, we basically instructed the moderators and janitors to not really not moderate Q outside of just off topic and spam and stuff like that, and also really not to post on it. And if anything, I mean, I've taken a very hardline stance. I mean, there was an email that leaked that I sent to the janitors about IRC and again, there's some of the stuff on J, but even in our orientation materials, I mean, both the text materials and the actual talk that they get to by whoever's doing the orientation, we make it very, 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 very clear to them that, one, they just can't take things personally, and they again shouldn't allow themselves to become jaded or bitter. And if they find that happening, they need to just take a break or quit because it's not healthy. Again, they are a user themselves and they serve the community. But we're really strict about, I've yelled at people over the years and really discouraged, and it doesn't really happen as much anymore, thankfully, people complaining about users or singling out users in IRC or on the boards. There's actually a thread on J that was like, let's post kind of funny 4chan stories, and we closed it immediately, and we're like, no, like you can't, you can't, you don't get to shit on the users, you don't get to make fun of them, or because again, that is I agree with you. I mean, that is a very toxic mentality to have. And so, but again, I mean, we've been really on top of that for years now. And essentially, if you have negative feelings about the community to express, the way that you can express it is to complain about a specific issue to me if you're a janitor, but you don't get to dump on users in the chat, which again is, people, sometimes they need an outlet for that, but we've made it very clear to them that they should not use the official janitor channels as an outlet for that, and they should never obviously use their role to vent their frustrations. And we've really encouraged people, again, take it easy, take time off, quit. Like there are a lot of things that you can do. And again, as I said earlier, a lot of people have actually resigned over the years because janitoring is not a very rewarding experience. They do it for free. We all do it for free, and not only do they run the constant threat of being harassed by users, but God forbid their handle or their name gets out there. I mean, to be frank, a lot of you guys are pretty miserable to them, and for the most part, they're all great. And again, they all, you know, there's not this SJW cabal. As you know, it's incredible. Again, somebody asked me something